So looking to get your final project for Thursday by noon. And what we're going to do is quickly we'll go over those on Thursday's class, and then we should be good for the semester. Everybody's doing well grade-wise. I'm still trying to tweak it out. So look for an email today, tomorrow, with everything up to date, so we can get that closed out. So today I'm actually going to do a little bit more with InDesign, not a huge amount, but just a little bit more, just to kind of, again, show you some of the capabilities that InDesign is able to do. And some of the more key features that you might start to utilize, and why that InDesign is going to be so much better for doing larger text layouts. So let me get my share going. Okay, so I think we have our InDesign up now. Hopefully you guys can see that. Get that a little bigger so we cover the screen. All right, so when we ended on Thursday, I was kind of showing you some just ideas of how it's designed to do large chunks of text, how you can start to add pictures. And in this case, we added a photo and we added a frame to it, or a stroke, and we can change that out. And you can see we can enlarge that, and we can, of course, change colors. And not getting too much into colors, but again, you can add colors just like you would in the other program. You can go and add a new swatch and go through your libraries. You can also work with colors in different formats. If you want to, the gray scales or the color scales. And then we also have our swatches. In addition to that, the strokes can be multiple, right? So we're used to dealing with a single stroke, but we can change it up to give it more character. And you'll have to look at that and see how that's going to work with your particular image. But these things are all done. And if you ever get a coupon in the mail, they're probably using these kind of things, the dots and or the strokes, the dashes. All of these things can be applied to your work. Okay, so again, based upon what you want, there's a lot of things that are kind of built right in to help give you some kind of a graphical punch to your work. And then likewise, the corners here, so we can adjust the corners to be certain things. You can see there we can bevel that in, inverse bevel. So we can get, fairly fancy with a few touches of the button with that. We have our align tools, which we've been using before in Illustrator and Photoshop, so feel free to use those. And then we have our text wraps, of course. Okay, so I'm going to get into text wraps a little bit more. And we're going to go into some styles just so you can see that, because I think that's going to be one of the big aspects of this. So let me just start with something simple. Here is a letter T, and let's say we want to do a drop cap with that. Down here on our paragraphing styles, we see this little A. So drop cap. So it tells you how many lines. And then over here is how many characters. So in this case, if I just want the T to be enlarged, I can click that and tell it to do 2 lines or 3 lines. So we get a really nice kind of drop cap going on. Very simple. It does it for you. Completely adjustable. And likewise, if I want it to be more than just the T, if I want the word the, I can now click this and it takes the character. So in this case, it's the becomes quite large. So I think that's kind of a cool thing to do to help bring out your paragraphing. And you'll see this done a lot in laying out of items. Now, you wouldn't probably want to do this on every paragraph, but it could be a graphical style, especially if it's a short paragraph. If it's done every time, it will get to be a bit too much. Okay, but it might be a nice way to kind of break it up, to break it into different paragraphs. So let's say this is a whole new section of the story. So we've got the beginning of the story, and then we're going to go like a flashback or some kind of other information. What I could do here is I could add an extra line between paragraphs, and then I could put in a additional drop cap. Okay, again, it's just going to visually kind of lead you through the article. So you can kind of see that here real quick, how just by adding those two drop caps, it's definitely breaking up this article. And remember, since everything is connected, we can move these paragraph boxes around, these type text boxes, and it will adjust accordingly. So it's going to move and push things up and down as we go. One of the things I want to do with the photos is I've dropped in a couple photos over here. Let me just move this out of the way for right now. It's many times we're bringing in photos and we're not quite sure how big we're going to want them to be, or we're going to be making adjustments as we go. So if I just now click on the corner of the box, and you see it got a little bit of a blue streak around it, that is the outside of the picture box. Okay, so that is the frame of the photos. If I double click on the photo, you see this yellow kind of square. In this case, this is the actual photograph itself. So you can see our photo frame is much smaller than the photo itself. Now, this is where that fitting comes into play. So we can again adjust our fitting to make the picture fit to the frame proportionally, fit the content proportionally. So it's going to squish it potentially a little bit. And you have to watch that. Something like a big landscape, not going to notice it too much. But when you start to get to people, you're going to start to get a little bit of a stretching and tweaking of the faces, which we don't want to do. Here we, again, making everything fit proportionally. Here, we're going to fill the frame to the contents. So therefore, it's going to make the contents in the picture be the same. Okay, so this is however you shot it and or edited it back in Photoshop. And then this is going to center the contents if the frame is larger. And this is going to be a content aware fit, which is very similar to what we're going to do here. I want to do an auto fit with this, just to show you what this does. So if I click auto fit and we are on fill contents to frame, when I adjust this picture, and again, I'm clicking it once and I get the blue, the picture will proportionally change with it. Had I turned that off, as you can see, the picture did not change. Again, if I click on the picture, click it twice, you see the photo is still this large. Okay, so if I do the auto fit, that's a good way to kind of start to work your images into your text, because you know we have these rough layouts as we're starting to go, but you're going to make adjustments as you go. So having auto fit will allow the picture to be quickly changed and moved with whatever you decide to do with your image. Okay, so no matter how large you make your picture, it will keep its contents to fit, auto fit. Okay, so think about turning that on. So once you have your photos kind of in position and you're happy with it, and you can see here, again, we got our photos quite large. So what I might want to do is fit the contents proportionally here, and then turn on my auto. And now I've got my photo that I can scale up and down without any problems. Now, in InDesign, you do want to hold the Shift key as you move it to keep it proportionally scaled. I know it gets a little confusing in Photoshop. We don't have to hold it anymore, the Shift. You'll get used to it. I'm still getting used to it because Photoshop, it used to be you had to hold the Shift key to keep things proportional. Now you don't. So here, as you can see, if I just drag without holding the Shift screen, I am going to distort the picture. Okay, so make sure you're holding the shift key as you're coming in, and make sure that you put the auto on. I think that's going to be probably the best way to have you guys all function here. Okay. Um, all right. Last time too, we also talked about um, bringing in um, pictures and giving them a little bit of a frame. And again, what we're trying to do is not get the photos too close to your text. Okay, so if you have text and you have a photo or an image box that's going right against it, that's gonna look really, really bad. So I'm gonna put this, default this back to 0. And you can preview over here. We have a normal view is where we can see the outer frames, but preview will show it to us without any of the boxes. Okay, so again, just to turn off normal, put it into preview, and that's going to show you exactly what it's going to start to look like. Now, in here, as you can see, we've got the text coming right up to the photo box, and it just becomes really difficult to read. It doesn't look good. You want to give your images or your objects some space. And right now, I'm going to adjust this box. I think we're on auto fit, so let me scale that proportionally, and then I'm going to put it on auto. And then we want to do what's called a text wrap. Okay, so it can show up here in your properties, or there is a dropout panel for that also. Now it's set here, there you can see there are links, so whatever I do on one, it will do for all of them. And what it's doing is just going to give it a little bit of breathing space around your picture. And again, this is kind of a visual thing, and once you set things up, you can start to do that. If you want to have additional space on one of the other corners or sides, you can. You can just unclick it, and then you can select that edge that you want to enlarge. So if I want additional gap here on the left, I'm going to go find my left, and I'm going to just click that out. And you can see I'm pushing it out from the left, but I'm not pushing it out from the top or the bottom. And again, as I put that in, it's going to adjust around the photograph that I have. Okay. So I'll zoom back that. So you can see now the picture has space to breathe and be readable. And you also have space for yes, I'll get to the final project in just a second here right now. For the image to read and the text to read. Okay. The last thing I want to do is, again, show you how the same kind of text fill can be used around an object. So in this case, I have a oval that's been drawn. And if I click on the wrap around the bounding box, that is the blue box we see. That's the bounding box. If I put it just around the object, it now just goes around the object. Okay, so we're getting that. So this is a way that we can start to build out shapes and do things with our text. And likewise, we can adjust how much gap is around that. See, so you can see as I'm clicking my text wrap, we're getting that oval, we're getting space around that oval. And why would you do that? You might have an different shaped photo, or maybe you want to bring in a photo that put it into something like an oval, which you can do. I'm going to place. I'm just going to just drop that in. So now you can see we've got this organic shape thing that's happening. We just dropped it into there. We placed it into that thing, into that oval shape. And now the oval shape is there. I'm going to click on auto click. So as I select it, it's going to be able to move and change. And as I select the corners, it's dragging it. You can see I'm dragging the oval out. So in this case, I've actually adjusted the text wrap to be just on one side compared to being unified all out. Okay, so that's another cool thing that you can start to do with InDesign. Now, lastly, I just want to get into what we call paragraph or text styles real quick to show you how that can totally work. I'm going to copy this over, just control holding option as I drag. It's going to give me a duplicate. So we have paragraph styles and character styles. Paragraph styles are down here at the bottom. Let me move this out of the way. Left justified, right justified, center aligned, etc. And also the spacing between and the gaps between, and we can add those all here for paragraph styles. They're pretty simple, and usually we don't do too much adjustment, but character styles is where we start to do. So what we can do is we have a large document. We may want to have different types of text. So up here we've had one type of text. And down here we've got 3 different styles. With these character styles, I can start to make changes quickly. And once I set them up, and I'm setting this up with dummy text, fill text, I can save those and then start to reuse those. So in this particular case, I made one here. It's called ABBA, okay? And it's this typeface and it's in green. So I'm going to click on this one, and if I want that to be the ABBA, boom, one click and it changes over. Okay, so not only does it bring in these styles that I had saved up, meaning the leading and the tracking and the font height and the font style, but also in this case, the color. If I want to change back, character style, and I'm going to go back to the handwriting here with that. So it did keep the green because it was kind of a modified there. And then if I want to go to the Roman, there it is here. Now, again, the fill stroke stayed with it. But if you set that up, it will go with it initially. But if I want this all to go back, just select all, fill, back to black, and we're back to normal on that. So with a couple clicks of the button, and once you do that, to make a new one, so I'm going to make a whole new one. I'm just going to draw in a text box. And let me get back to normal mode so you can start to see the frames. I'm going to go to type and fill with placeholder text, and you're going to see it's going to drop this in. It's defaulted over to Mignon Pro, and I'm going to pick up a different typeface here. Okay. So here we have a new typeface, and I'm going to give it a little bit larger point size. And I'm going to increase the leading, and I'm going to track it out a little bit. Let's give it some more spacing there. And then I'm going to save this as a new style. Create new style. Let's go, boom. And now we have that saved. So clicking here, we're in handwriting. If I go to Misco, boom, it did that. And again, it stayed green because it was green. But again, it just select that whole paragraph. Command all, go back to fill, go to black, and it will change it back to my black that it was defaulted to. So the colors kind of stick with that style if you want. But again, you can change that back. So if you know you're going to want this green, obviously keep it green. But the character styles are going to be something that's really quite nice to do. And again, all I need to do is click this, and here I'm on this whole long article. Boom, one click, and it should go back over. Let me just click this again. Why didn't it change? Calling me a fool here. And there we go. So now it's all in that handwriting style. And you can see, obviously, it did some weird stuff up here with that. Again, selecting, changing the style, and we can put it back into what it used to be. All right, so again, I think you're going to find InDesign quite powerful as you start to design and start to work. Again, main purpose is to bring together larger amounts of text with imagery, and also format it into a format that's going to be a book, and you can start to see it's becoming a book format here. And we can start to do that. Other things that it does, I'm not going to get into it too much here today, but it does, do have things called master pages. Okay, so we can start to add items in. So let me get my pages view. So these are my pages, and we can again jump around to different pages. But up here in the master pages, we can add items here on the master page that we want to be on every page. Examples would be we want a header, if we want page numbering, if we want we'll say a stripe. So if I wanted a black stripe to go always along the bottom edge of my master pages, or all the pages, I can just draw a stroke there. And let me give it a stroke color. And I'm going to give it a little bit of a weight. So I put this on a master page. And then when I go back to my pages, you'll see it added that to all of them. Okay, so that's on all of them. It's automatic. It can be adjusted per page. There's some keyboard shortcuts that allow you to get in there, edit. But for the most part, it's not editable, right? I can't select it here. Okay, so you can see it's not allowing me to select it. Okay, so that's the cool thing about a master pages. And if I want to change that, I come back to a master and I click it, and I change the color to magenta, and now it's going to be on all of my pages here as a magenta bar. Okay, so the master pages are cool things that you want to put on multiple pages. And again, you can make up multiple masters. So if you have one set of a book to be a certain way, other pages another way, you can set those up. So 3 things that you can do to make your workload quicker. 1, set up a master page with elements that are going to be consistently found on many pages. 2, setting up paragraph styles and character styles. And again, with a short click, you can change things, okay? And that's going to, again, speed up things. Think about something like a newsletter where you're going to do it every month, every couple of weeks for an organization. Once you set up these styles, it's really about dropping the text in, putting the pictures in place, and then selecting the character style that you want to use. Okay, and then you can go back through and make your adjustments with your images and with your text to make things line up the way you want them to be. Okay, so those are 3 key things that are going to help you with your InDesign. All right. Okay, so questions about the final project. So the final project is we're working on our video machines, which was in our email or our website. So what we're looking at is a PDF of that finished. So kind of a flat PDF, just show me your artwork, save it as a PDF from InDesign or Photoshop. I'm sure most of you are InDesign. I'm sorry, most of you are Illustrator. But so save that as a PDF, and then do a printout and cut it out, and I want you to fold it and make it together. So let me see if I can find it on my desktop here. Give me 1 second. Okay, where'd my files go? Hold on. You gotta bear with me 1 second. Is that helping? Is that, yes, the website. So the website is danielmgross.com/DART. And let me just pull it up on the website, and then I will get that to you. Okay, so let me share get my screen shared again. Hold on. Okay, so it should be here on the website. And here is the project sheet. So you're going to be here taking a photograph of your finished machine. So print that out and then fold it up and cut it. Regular paper's fine. And then you're going to send me a file that's like this, okay, that has the layout on it. Okay, so here is the layout, and we went over the layout of this a class or a couple classes ago. I think last Tuesday. So you can watch the video on the quick mock-up that we started to do with building this out. So a photograph of your finished machine, just print it out, cut it up, glue it, tape it together, give me a photograph, and then you're going to send me also a PDF of your finished files, JPEG, PDF, whatever it's going to be, okay, on that. Okay. Let me, 1 second. All right. Did that answer the question there of?
So do we have to Photoshop images on the PDF?
You're going to want to Photoshop. You can use Photoshop and/or Illustrator to draw it on. So you're going to basically add your images to the layout of the machine, and then you will cut it up and put it together. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Other questions? Anything at all? So again, what we're looking at for Thursday is getting those to me by about noon, and then I'm going to gather them all together in a folder. We're going to take a quick look at them on Thursday's class to finish things up. And if there's anything else that you need me to cover or want me to cover quickly on Thursday, let me know. You know, we obviously have a little bit of time on Thursday to cover anything any pressing questions. And again, also, if you have questions, let me know. Send me an email, and that email's good too. So if something comes up in the middle of July, just send me an email. You guys can get a hold of me, and we can help you through those things. All right, anything else for today? So again, I think everybody's doing fine grade-wise. I will get those tweaked up and get those out to you guys. But at this point, everybody is basically shooting at an A at this point. You guys have been doing good stuff. It's been a rough quarter. Not being able to sit there and help you, it's kind of difficult. But if you have questions, you know, let me know, and we'll get through this, and you guys will be off for the summer, whatever that might be. All right. Anything else? Anything else?
Can you say the email on the website one more time? Sorry.
Yes, it's danielmgross.com / let me type it in. Okay, so danielmgross.com, and that should do it. So I'm typing in, that was just okay. So that will have that on there. It will have this sheet that we just were showing. Okay. Okay. Other questions? Okay, so we're back here on the desktop. So they'll have this sheet on here. It's in here twice. Once just a little bit larger, and then just the photograph, and then just kind of the spec sheet for that. Okay, and it's at near the bottom of our Zoom stuff here. Okay, so we're at last week, and then we're here. Okay. Other questions? Anything else, guys? All right. So if there are no other questions, I make sure I get my chat. We've got everything answered there. All right. So if there's nothing else, guys, have an awesome Tuesday. And we'll see you guys on Thursday. And we'll finish this up. All right. Thank you, guys. Have a great day, and we will talk soon.